Hey guys, welcome to Street Chronicles, where I get the tour and you get the facts. Today we are going to tour the Greater Oneonta Historical Society, also known as the GOHS. In this episode, we will get to speak with the executive director of the GOHS and learn how the COVID-19 pandemic made her the executive director of this historical society. This pandemic has brought many troubling times for people all over the world. Dr. Mikuchi created the exhibit Precautions Urged, which tells the story of how pandemics have affected Oneonta. Now let's get into it. The Greater Oneonta Historical Society, also known as the GOHS, is the oldest brick building in the Oneonta Historic District on 183 Main Street, Oneonta. It is a private non-profit organization relying mostly on people's donations and organizational support, as well as winning grants to keep the place running. Executive Director of the GOHS, Marcella Mikuchi, runs most of the fundraising to keep it alive. If you get the pleasure of going, you will get to learn tons about Oneonta while guiding yourself through captivating exhibits, learning about historic events, and getting to catch a glimpse of historical artifacts from Oneonta. Precautions Urged is the newest exhibit there, and it is about public health and pandemics in Oneonta, which opened mid-February and will close on May 3, 2024. Dr. Marcella Mikuchi is the executive director of the GOHS and has been since January 2021. She grew up in Oneonta and is a SUNY Oneonta alumna. After receiving her PhD, she entered public history and worked as a curator for exhibits at multiple museums. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit in 2020, she decided to come back to Oneonta to quarantine for 2 weeks before going back to Philadelphia, where she worked on curating exhibits at the Museum of Revolution. Unfortunately, the pandemic had other plans. According to the executive director of the GOHS, Marcella Mikuchi,
once I got my PhD, which was in 2016, I entered public history. So I went to the Museum of the City of New York. I was there for 2 years. I did a few exhibits there, and then I went to Philadelphia, and I was at the Museum of the American Revolution. I was there for 2 years. And then COVID hit, so I came home. My mom still lives here. So, okay, I'll be home for, a couple weeks. I think all of us were, just kind of living in this false reality. As we know, that didn't happen. So I ended up staying in Oneonta, finishing out my contract remote in Philadelphia, and then went on to the job market. So when I started at GOHS, I had just gone onto the market. It was just a very serendipitous thing. The executive director, Bob Rosowski, who had been at the History Center for 18 years, was retiring. And so, it was just really like a right place, right time. So I ended up being able to stay, obviously get a job, but also stay in public history, which is perfect. So I did, I applied, I got the job. I started probably like a month after that. So I've been at the History Center for about 3 years now.
Today, Dr. Mikuchi works on various day-to-day operations, including marketing of the GOHS, development of stocks, fundraising, designs of the GOHS web designs and social platforms on their website and social media. She is also the head of the collections department and continues her passion to plan and execute the exhibits there. According to Dr. Mikuchi,
Precautions Urged is a panel display that we put up to actually coincide with the release of Chronicling a Crisis, which talks about the COVID-19 pandemic and SUNY Oneonta from 2020 through 2021. So we wanted to have something that, could kind of relate to that, but also be able to explore the kind of history of public health and pandemics in Oneonta.
Chronicling a Crisis, SUNY Oneonta's Pandemic Diaries is a collection of stories, photo essays, and remembrances created by the SUNY Oneonta community during COVID-19. There are contributions to the book from students, faculty, and staff from March 2020 to June 2021. This book was an idea that started with the book author and editor, Ann Trader, when she was inspired by a book using mass observation as record keeping. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck, Trader didn't let this affect her negatively. She was inspired. She got the idea of getting students from SUNY Oneonta to write diary entries in the style of mass observation in exchange for extra credit. With the help of editors Matthew Henley, Ed Beck, and Darren Chase, the book Chronicling a Crisis was written. Chronicling a Crisis was later published by the SUNY Press on November 1, 2023. This book publication is what sparked the creation of the Precautions Urged exhibit at the GOHS. The book editors were able to do a book presentation at the GOHS on March 23rd, where they were able to help advertise their book, as well as the exhibit Dr. Marcella Micucci created. Today you can find Dr. Micucci on 183 Main Street, Oneonta, where she continues her passion of planning and executing historical exhibits at the Greater Oneonta Historical Society.